Hello, hello, welcome back to Talking Tunes, and today we're going to be talking about the 5 tunes on Camel's 1974 album, Mirage. I did do a very cursory piece of bit of research before I went in. Apparently this is the second studio album by Camel. I couldn't find what their first was, but that might have just been laziness on my part. It probably was. And I didn't look up band members or anything. I just wanted to see, where it was recorded. And it seemed to be, there was like a record company that wanted something to put out. I don't know if they, it seemed to me like they were going through a dry spell. Anyway, that's not really relevant. What we're here to talk about, at the very least, for the last couple of videos, I've been looking at stuff that's a bit more obscure, not, the most obscure stuff, but a bit more obscure, a bit more, if you're a hardcore prog fan, you'll have heard of and maybe listened to before you watch these videos, but, here, we're just here to talk about the music for the most part. I think I've made that clear, for most videos. But song number one, Free Fall, it's got a very synth-heavy opening. It quickly becomes, a very prog rock jam. It's heavily featuring organs and guitars. The vocals are a little bit buried. I was about to say it suffers from the Genesis effect, but it's not that bad because I could understand what the guy was saying. It's it has a very neat guitar solo. The middle jam is very King Crimson inspired. It's kind of like if 21st Century Schizoid Man wasn't like this intense jazz thing and was a little bit more calm. I don't necessarily think Camel is, Canterbury. They do remind me a little bit of Caravan. So yeah. Yeah, I don't know if they are Canterbury, but I could see how they fit there. But Canterbury is really just, slightly less intense prog, which isn't all that intense, depending on the album and depending on the song in general. But anyway, not the most relevant detail. We can see we're back. I'm back on my bullshit, folks. um, you know. The lyrics come back in at the end, and then it musically restates the beginning. So, yeah, it's a good song. It's a good song. Super Twister, this is the first of 2 instrumental songs. It's also the shortest on the album at a little over 3 minutes. It's got a heavy use of flute. The flute occupies pretty much the same melodic space that vocals would typically have on a song like this. Like if Pink Floyd wrote this or if Genesis wrote this, this would not be an instrumental. It would have vocals probably, because Pink Floyd's instrumentals are just a lot more intense than this, or have more intense moments than this typically. But it's, again, it's a nice little unique thing about Camel, and so that's neat, or at least something that I picked up on just on listening to this album. It's something very unique about Camel. It kind of feels like the beginning of a sidelong suite, and the song overall is just nice and mellow. It's a nice little listen. Again, much like the first song, nice little listen. Nimrodal Medley. I don't know if I pronounced that right. It's got like this synth opening thing, like the synth thing that opens, followed by like the sounds of War Victory Celebration. I don't know how else to describe it. I just had to swap this over because my hand's fucking freaking out for some reason. It's it turns into a King Crimson inspired song with David Gilmour-esque vocals. Not many people talk about David Gilmour's vocals in particular, but I talk about them a lot, and these are very David Gilmour-like vocals. Not like that's it. It's like you'll know it when you hear it. You know what I mean. It picks up with a very cool jam in the middle with a great synth solo, followed by a great guitar solo, and then it becomes more acoustic, and then it becomes more calm but epic. And then there's another synth solo, and then it pretty much closes out. Again, neat little song, a little bit nice and jammy, couple of vocals. It's nice and prog. It's just again, there's things about Camel that stick out, and there's things about Camel that don't stick out. Much like any genre, some bands do kind of slip through the cracks. They do have their little unique things about them, but you wouldn't. This is not a band that I would be able to identify right away just from hearing a couple of notes. It's not a band like that. You know what I mean? Not necessarily saying that's a bad thing, not necessarily saying they're untalented or generic. It's kind of hard to be a generic prog band because every prog band does kind of have an identity of its own. But you can, again, I'm very clearly picking up what their inspirations are. You know what I mean? Earthrise, song number 4. I believe this is yes, it is the opener to side 2. Opens with, wind sound effects and twinkling. The instrumental just comes in, and then it just, comes in to create, a song with, similar energy. It's like if you combined the energy, and the beat of One of These Days with the mellowness of Any Color You Like. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody out there, but it's if you listen to it, you would understand, I think. I know what that means. I just don't necessarily know if you'll know what that means, but anyway. It has this nifty little drum break followed by more jamming. This is the second instrumental. Quite a bit, and then there's a lot of jamming. Not much else to say. It's about 6 minutes. It's a nice 6 minutes, but, again, nothing really to write home about. And again, not a bad thing. It's a nice listen. I just went on that whole monologue. And then we come to the final song on the album, the longest song on the album, clocking it at over 12 minutes. Lady Fantasy. It kind of has an Emerson, Lake and Palmer-like opening with very heavy, this loop of early synths. It seems to be a love song. It's got a neat little guitar solo, and then there's this more raucous jams that comes with an even better guitar solo. And then around the 5-minute mark, it calms down a little bit. Nice little mellow jam. Roughly 5 minutes. And then there's a very calm bit about 6.5 minute mark. And then the vocals come in, back in briefly, followed by a fucking great jam. And then that's all the more I have to say about Mirage by Camel. That's about it. Again, you can, I'm just kind of hanging out a little bit briefly here. I'll I have something neat planned for next month. But as far as this album goes, give it a listen. Give it a listen. If you are a fan of prog, you will enjoy this. If you are, not a fan of prog, maybe you'll find something to like, but I doubt it. It was critically acclaimed. There's a bee flying around. It was highly critically acclaimed. It didn't chart in U.S. or Britain, but if you bought this album, you liked this album. So I don't necessarily think this is an album that I'd seek out, but if I did find it at a used CD store, I would probably pick it up. But it's not something I want to go out of my way, or it's just I need this, clearly, because I don't own it. So yeah, give it a listen. It's neat, and that's that's where I'm going to leave it. If you've enjoyed this video, please feel free to leave a like on it. If you have something to add, please feel free to do so in the comments down below. If you want to continue along this musical journey with me, please feel free to subscribe. If you want to hear me talk about something other than music, I have a podcast with two of my buddies. It's called Dorkies. I will leave a link to the most recent episode of that in the description down below. And if you want to hear what I happen to be listening to today, I post a song on my Instagram story every single day. I will leave a link to that in the description down below. And with that, I would like to thank you all very much for watching and remind you to stay weird and keep jamming. I will see you in the next one.